Imagine being thousands of feet above the ground, cruising through clear skies when suddenly, you hear an explosion. Your heart races, and your mind goes into overdrive as the terrifying sound of an engine failure pierces the air. But what if, moments later, you hear it again, an explosion in the same engine? The unimaginable has become reality. This is the story of a flight that experienced two catastrophic engine failures, one after the other, all caused by the same issue with the same engine. Today, we're diving into the terrifying moments of this flight, the critical decisions made by the crew, and the investigation that followed to uncover the root cause. The flight took off on a routine route, with the aircraft climbing to cruising altitude with no apparent issues. The passengers aboard, unaware of the danger lurking in the engines, were simply enjoying their flight. Everything seemed normal until it wasn't. The aircraft was a well-maintained and relatively new model, an iconic and trusted machine in the skies. But during the early stages of the flight, things started to go wrong. In a shocking twist, the crew heard a loud bang, followed by a violent shudder. One of the engines, the one on the left, had exploded mid-flight. The crew immediately declared an emergency, and air traffic control cleared them for an emergency return to the airport. In a split second, the flight went from being routine to a life-threatening emergency. The passengers, suddenly aware of the seriousness of the situation, felt the weight of their vulnerability. The crew began to work quickly, following the emergency protocols, communicating with air traffic controllers, and checking the condition of the aircraft. But as the plane descended, seemingly heading toward safety, disaster struck again. The same engine, the one that had already exploded earlier in the flight, failed again. A second explosion rocked the aircraft, creating a terrifying and almost surreal moment for both the crew and passengers. The crew now had to deal with the chaos of two engine explosions in the same flight, with only one functioning engine left to rely on. As the passengers braced for what seemed like certain disaster, the crew's training and calm under pressure became the difference between life and death. Despite the devastating damage to the engine, the pilots managed to maintain control of the aircraft and continue their emergency descent. But with each passing moment, the weight of the situation became more critical. The decision to return to the airport was already made, but now the pilots had to assess whether they could even make it back. Would the remaining engine hold up under the stress of such a dangerous situation? Could the plane make it to the runway before the remaining engine failed? With air traffic controllers guiding them every step of the way, the pilots made an emergency approach to the airport. The passengers, now in sheer panic, knew the worst was still yet to come. Could the crew land the plane safely with only one engine? Would the runway be long enough to bring the aircraft to a stop? The moments felt like an eternity as the aircraft neared the runway, and the final descent began. At the last minute, the crew adjusted their approach, managing to touch down safely with the single remaining engine running. It was a breathtaking feat of piloting under unimaginable pressure. After the aircraft finally came to a halt on the runway, emergency responders rushed to the scene. The passengers evacuated quickly, relieved that they had made it through what seemed like an impossible situation. Emergency services were on high alert, ready to assist in case of any complications, though the successful landing left everyone in awe. In the aftermath, investigators started to piece together what had happened. Both engine explosions were traced to the same critical issue, a flaw in the design of the engine's fuel system that caused excessive fuel pressure. This flaw led to the first explosion, which damaged key components of the engine. When the engine was restarted after the first explosion, the same issue caused a second catastrophic failure, with even more severe consequences. The investigation revealed that the flaw had been present in several aircraft models, and though it had been detected in earlier inspections, the solution had not been fully implemented in the affected planes. This led to serious concerns about the thoroughness of routine checks and the safety protocols for addressing such mechanical flaws. For the passengers and crew, this incident was a traumatic reminder of just how quickly things can go wrong when it comes to aviation. But it was also a testament to the professionalism and expertise of the flight crew. Their quick thinking and calm actions ensured that no lives were lost in what could have easily been a much worse disaster. After the incident, the airline grounded the affected fleet to conduct thorough inspections and fix the faulty engines. The investigation prompted changes in safety regulations, focusing on better detection systems for engine malfunctions and stricter inspection protocols. As we reflect on this harrowing event, one thing becomes clear: while aviation is one of the safest forms of transportation, even the slightest mechanical flaw can have catastrophic consequences. The lessons learned from this flight will echo through the aviation industry for years to come, ensuring that future flights will be even safer for everyone involved. What do you think? Could better maintenance or earlier detection of the engine flaw have prevented this incident? And what can we, as passengers, do to better understand the risks and safety measures in aviation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us in this intense journey through one of aviation's most terrifying moments. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you next time as we continue to explore the untold stories of the skies.